In 1914, Clara Ford placed a custom order for a Detroit Electric, a vehicle with 130 kilometers of range and 43% lower maintenance costs than any gasoline car on the road. Her husband was Henry Ford, the man whose Model T would help bury the electric vehicle for nearly a century. The standard explanation is that electrics simply couldn't compete. The evidence suggests they were never given the chance. Detroit Electric's Model 46, introduced in 1914, was built around a simple promise: reliable, quiet mobility for the urban driver. The car's heart was a 38-volt lead-acid battery, arranged in 4 robust cells, delivering a manufacturer-advertised range of 130 kilometers, about 80 miles, between charges. This range was not a laboratory fantasy, but a figure repeated across Detroit Electric's own brochures and confirmed by period road tests at a steady 15 miles per hour. For city dwellers, it meant a week's worth of errands without the anxiety of refueling. The engineering choices behind the Model 46 were deliberate. Instead of a complex internal combustion engine, the car used a single direct-drive electric motor. There were no gears to grind, no spark plugs to foul, and no carburetor to tune. Owners opened the hood to find a clean, orderly compartment, wires, batteries, and a motor, nothing more. Maintenance was reduced to periodic brush replacement on the motor, a task the company claimed could be performed by the owner in minutes. Oil changes, tune-ups, and the infamous hand crank starter, standard burdens for gasoline cars, were entirely absent. This simplicity translated into real-world advantages. The Model 46 started instantly, even on the coldest morning, and ran without vibration or exhaust. According to Detroit Electric's technical literature, the battery pack could be swapped out at service stations, offering a level of convenience that gasoline infrastructure would not match for years. The company's engineers took pride in the car's low maintenance demands, promoting it as the rational choice for anyone unwilling to spend weekends under the hood. In an era when gasoline engines demanded constant attention, the Model 46 offered a glimpse of an alternative future, one that was cleaner, quieter, and on paper, more reliable. A 1913 survey of New York City delivery firms revealed a striking figure. Electric trucks cost 43% less to maintain each year than their gasoline counterparts. The savings came not from wishful accounting, but from the absence of routine engine repairs, oil changes, and the constant replacement of parts that plagued early combustion vehicles. Owners of electric delivery fleets reported fewer breakdowns and less time spent in the shop, a fact that rippled through the commercial press. Scientific American, the leading technology magazine of the day, endorsed electrics without reservation. In 1913, editors wrote that for congested city streets, the electric automobile offers silence, cleanliness, and reliability, unrivaled by gasoline or steam competitors. The magazine's praise was not empty rhetoric. It reflected the daily experience of urban drivers who found electrics to be both practical and economical. Clara Ford's decision adds a personal dimension to this economic logic. In March 1914, a factory ledger entry at Detroit Electric recorded her custom order for a new model. The purchase was not a gesture of novelty or social fashion. Clara, with full access to her husband's gasoline-powered empire, chose electric for its ease, comfort, and cost. Her endorsement, quietly inscribed in the company's records, stands as a living testimonial to the real-world value of electric vehicles. Despite the clear evidence of lower operating costs, public praise, and high-profile customers, electric cars would soon face pressures that had nothing to do with their technical or economic merit. The question lingers. If electrics were so rational, why did they vanish from the road? Standard Oil's campaign against electric vehicles began with a quiet but thorough surveillance effort. By 1905, the company's managers instructed field agents to track every new electric car registration, battery plant, and charging proposal across a dozen states. Internal memos, later unearthed in federal investigations, detailed weekly reports from Ohio, Pennsylvania, and the Midwest, each listing municipal council debates and utility board agendas. The objective was clear: anticipate and intercept any policy that might favor electric propulsion. The next phase unfolded in state legislatures. In 1912, Ohio's General Assembly passed House Bill 1289, a measure imposing a 2-cent per mile license fee on all self-propelled electric locomotives. Gasoline vehicles were exempt. Committee records show that Representative William H. McKinley introduced the bill after receiving a letter from a Standard Oil lobbyist. The bill cleared the House by a 31-19 vote and the Senate by 22-11. That same summer, Pennsylvania enacted Act 190, levying a $5 annual registration surcharge on electric automobiles alone. Testimony from anonymous industry representatives, later linked to Standard Oil, warned of the supposed damage electric vehicles would inflict on public roads. Standard Oil's influence extended to city councils. In Milwaukee, 1913 council minutes record a heated session in which a company representative argued that municipal charging stations would grant unfair advantage to electric utilities and erode petroleum demand. The ordinance was shelved by a 7-4 vote. Cincinnati's city records from 1914 reveal a similar outcome, with Standard Oil-funded pamphlets circulating warnings about fire hazards and electricity overuse. Across a dozen states, the legislative pattern was unmistakable: targeted fees, regulatory obstacles, and a coordinated effort to stifle the infrastructure that electric vehicles needed to survive. In early 1912, Henry Ford traveled to meet Thomas Edison with a single question in mind: could the electric automobile be made affordable for the masses? Ford, already famous for his Model T, had watched Clara choose Detroit Electric for her own driving, an open challenge to gasoline's supposed inevitability. The meeting between Ford and Edison, documented in Ford's business correspondence, was more than a courtesy call. Ford wanted Edison's expertise in battery technology, hoping to overcome the limits that kept electric cars out of reach for most Americans. Publicly, Edison listened as Ford described his vision for a low-cost, reliable electric car. Edison had long championed electric propulsion, telling reporters that gasoline engines were noisy, dirty, and ill-suited for city life. Yet in private he was less optimistic. His handwritten reply, preserved in the Edison papers, cautioned that present battery technology cannot meet mass production demands. Still, Edison was not ready to concede. That same year, he filed a patent amendment for a new lead acid cell, promising a breakthrough within 2 years. The contradiction was plain. Edison's public statements continued to stoke hope for electric cars, while his private correspondents hedged on their practical future. Ford left the meeting with no clear path forward. The mass-market electric car remained elusive, stymied by batteries that could not match the scale or cost of gasoline. Meanwhile, Ford's own factories ramped up production of the Model T, each one further entrenching the infrastructure and economics of gasoline. The irony deepened. While Clara's Detroit Electric glided quietly through Dearborn, Henry's business decisions and Edison's technical hesitations pushed the entire industry toward combustion engines and away from the electric alternative. By 1920, the numbers spoke for themselves. The Ford Model T, once a luxury at $850, now sold for just $260, less than half the price of a new Detroit Electric. At the same time, gasoline infrastructure exploded across the country. Industry directories from that year list more than 15,000 filling stations, a network that dwarfed the handful of municipal charging sites still operating. Detroit Electric's ledgers tell a story of decline. Annual production, which had peaked at 4,681 cars in 1914, collapsed to under 100 vehicles by 1924. The company struggled on, but by 1939, it ceased operations entirely. In 1922, the Federal Trade Commission released its report on Standard Oil and the automotive industry. The findings confirmed a coordinated campaign of discriminatory pricing and legislative obstacles, but the Commission found no legal grounds for action. With no remedy from regulators, electric cars faded from the streets, not for lack of merit, but because the market had been quietly, systematically rewritten. The silence around electric cars lasted most of a century. When General Motors introduced the EV1 in the late 1990s, it was a promise renewed, then abruptly withdrawn. By 2003, every EV1 was recalled and destroyed. Their existence was erased by corporate order. 5 years later, the Tesla Roadster arrived. It had a range of 394 kilometers, shattering old myths about battery limitations. Yet the real gap had never been about technology alone. Clara Ford, who continued to drive her Detroit Electric well into the 1930s, had already shown what was possible when infrastructure and will aligned. Her quiet persistence stands in contrast to decades of lost opportunity. It is a reminder that the story of electric vehicles is written not just in engineering, but in the choices of those who build or block the roads ahead. Today, electric vehicles once again challenge gasoline supremacy. Yet their fate remains tied to decisions about infrastructure, industry influence, and political will. The choice Clara Ford made in 1914 still confronts us. Progress or profit, public good or private power. History's verdict is not yet written.